In everything in your life, you have to ask the question, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why am I going here? Why am I going there? Why am I with this person? Why am I with that person? Why? The why is the question. Why are you doing something? Now, of course, if you're doing something worthwhile, every time you ask why, the why question, the answer will spring up immediately. Like, for instance, as a hypothetical example, why do I do exercise every morning? Well, so that my body is in good physical condition and my mind is in good shape, and so that I'll live longer and have a happier, healthier life with less illness when I come to the end of my life. That's a great reason. A bunch of great reasons there. So never be afraid to ask the question, why? Why am I doing this? The question, though, of why, essential though it is, young guys today, I'm sorry, I mean, a lot of my audience are young guys. I'm gonna ask you, are you guys stupid on purpose, or do you take a class to be stupid, or is it like a natural talent? Were you born stupid? Because how many guys are in fucking relationships and they have no idea why they're in it? It's sort of like they were walking along, or better yet, they were like flying along, like a little butterfly. They were flying, and then they were caught in this butterfly net. And oh my God, I'm caught in a butterfly net. It's a butterfly net called a relationship. What the fuck? Huh? See, a relationship has a purpose for a guy. Girls just want to be in relationships, okay? Guys need to have a reason to be in a relationship, because most guys are perfectly happy to be on their own. Ask 9 guys out of 10. What do you prefer? To be in a relationship with all the stress and strain of that entails? Or do you prefer to be at home watching football, scratching your balls and drinking back beers or scotch or whatever your drink may be? Ask 10 guys. 9 are going to say, well, scratching my balls and watching TV sounds pretty good, and there's going to be beer, I'm there. Yes, of course. Of course, because guys don't like relationships, and yes, I know, they're like a chainsaw outside. I think they're chopping off the limbs of I don't know who. Just so long as they clean up the blood afterwards, I'm perfectly fine. Anyway, guys have to ask why they're in a relationship. Guys have to understand why they would want to be in a relationship, and that includes you. You see, there are essentially 3 reasons to be in a relationship, and only 3. And they're very simple. One is sex. Get regular sex, that's good. The second reason, domestic comfort. Somebody to come home to, and everything is nice and tidy, your shirts are ironed, the food is warm, and plates on the table, and you're good to go, and then you can eat and get your beer and watch TV, and then have sex later. Those are the 2 reasons, and the third one is children. See? A relationship that is going forward without these 3 elements is pointless. Okay? If you're not getting laid, if you're not having domestic comfort, and if you're not having children, then you have to ask yourself, exactly why are you in the relationship? You see, girls, women, they fuss over a relationship and talk about it endlessly, okay? I mean, they fuss over a relationship as if it were a child. And it's because of their natural instinct. Because, see, they are fussing over the relationship and making sure it's okay and everything is going fine and all the rest of it, precisely in the same way as they will fuss over the child that you will have later on together. It's their natural function to have children. And those who deny the biological imperative of women are fools. Okay? Women are fussing over the relationship as preparation to fussing over the child. A guy doesn't give a shit about a relationship. All he cares about is getting laid, getting a nice meal, and eventually having kids. Because I'll tell you from experience, see, you might not want a kid when you're young. You might think that a kid is going to be a hassle or a tremendous responsibility or all the rest of it, but when you have a kid, it gives you a reason for being. It gives you a strong incentive to move forward in the world. Having a kid is one of the most wonderful things on the one hand, because your heart breaks every time you see them. And on the other hand, it is a great motivator. It sticks like a little hot chili up your asshole and gets you going, okay? Because you want to provide for your kids, right? So If the relationship is not providing these three elements to you, sex, domestic comfort, and children, you have to ask yourself why you're in it. You see, because these three conditions, they are all necessary, and each of them in turn is sufficient. Individually, none of them are sufficient conditions. It's the combination of the three. Yeah? Sex, domestic comfort, children. I've known guys who've been in relationships for years, and they never get married, and they just, putter along like in a broken down car that they haven't taken to the mechanic, right? It's because they're afraid that this is the best that they're going to get, and so they hold on to this relationship. They hold on to this woman thinking, this woman who I don't really like, and the sex is only so good, and she doesn't, do anything for me. She doesn't cook anything for me. She doesn't give me domestic happiness, as it were, and she doesn't want to have kids with me. It's the best I can do, and I don't want to lose it. No. You have to be, put on the big boy pants, right? Let a relationship die. Okay, that's one of the most important things that you have to understand. See, when you're young, when you're starting out, when you're 16 or whatever, you have your first girlfriend. You and the 16-year-old girlfriend you have, you're both experimenting with the notion of a relationship. But the relationship is never an end in itself. It is not the reason to be with somebody, the relationship. Who gives a shit? The relationship doesn't matter. It's what is produced by the relationship. The kid's in the relationship. Okay? Now, I read in Reddit, actually, there was this guy. Oh, God. It was just, oh, God. See, this guy, yeah, he was with his long-term girlfriend. And they'd been together for several years. It actually didn't mention how many years. They weren't married, but they'd been together for a while. And she got pregnant. And so she decided to have an abortion. And he didn't want the abortion. He wanted her to have the kid. And he was going to man up, in that idiotic phrase of feminists and blue pillars in general. He was going to man up, and he wanted the kid. He wanted the kid. She didn't. When a woman doesn't want to have your kid, dump her. What is the point of being with her? First of all, in this particular case that I'm mentioning, see, that the woman scraped out his kid and murdered the kid, because there's no other way to talk about abortion. It's legal, sure, but it's murder. And to pretend otherwise, and to do all kinds of, mental backflips and elucubrations in order to explain away the fact that you are murdering a child, it's murder, plain and simple. Get over it. See, I don't mind being a bloodthirsty son of a bitch who's okay with the murder of a child. That I'm okay with, okay? What I'm opposed to is hypocrisy. See, if you just say, yes, I murdered my unborn child, well, I'll respect you. If you say, oh, it was my choice, and it was just not the right time, blah, 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 bullshit. You're just explaining away and rationalizing what is a very straightforward decision. And the decision in this case was the woman didn't want to bear this man's kid. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter if she was brainwashed by leftists. It doesn't matter if she had a career. Bottom line, she did not want to carry his kid, so why are they together? This guy on Reddit, right? He had this whole post on Reddit, and he kept on talking about like how he wanted to continue the relationship and this and that, like a fucking pussy, okay? Don't be a fucking pussy. Understand why you're in a relationship, because if you're in a relationship, you are basically being a fucking beta. That's, that's bottom line, that's what's happening. You are acting like a beta because you're in a relationship. If you have a kid, then you're alpha, then you're a grown-up, then you're somebody that I can take seriously. But if you're just in a fucking relationship, what are we? Fucking 16-year-old children? No, we're fucking adults. If a relationship is not going to a specific end, then it becomes an end in itself. And if it is an end in itself, it is nothing but a woman's plaything. It is a waste of your fucking time, because you can get better pussy than what you're fucking right now. Okay? And domestic comfort, you can hire a good maid and she'll, fix up your place, spick and span, and leave you a nice dinner every night, and it'll be cheaper than having to deal with a girlfriend. Okay? If you're not getting sex, domestic comfort, and kids, and moving forward with your life like a grown-up, ditch the bitch. Do we understand each other? Okay, get lost.